All right. We're. I want to tell people out there for the Burnt Possum Records.com podcast. This is between Phil Newton and David Pinsky. I've had them on there, and we were talking, and when we got interrupted by a lightning bolt, and so yeah, we're hanging with the band, and the lightning bolt was hanging with the band also. Can you guys hear that in the background? I mean, it's rumbling. Yeah. So if I lose you again, I'm really sorry because I really want to make sure that we get plenty of time in here. And that kind of interrupted about 15 minutes of my time. So anyway, here on the podcast, I'm going to go ahead. I'll light it up again just for one thing here, and I'm going to start out with a song by what do you guys go on tab? Do you go by David Pinsky and Phil Newton, or do you do David and Phil, or do you do Pinsky?
We do all the above.
Wait! Don't say it all at once. Now, someone's got to talk. Which one of you is going to go?
All of the above. It depends on whoever books us. They can call us whatever they like as long as they pay us. You can call us Sonny Terry and Bronny McGee if they want.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, who wouldn't like to be called that? Yeah. No doubt. So let's start everything like all new with Blues in My Bones, which I already heard whether I wanted to or not a while ago. Man, that was badass. So here we go.
Feeling I got the blues in my bones. Don't know where they came from, but they won't leave me alone. Looking over yonder, trying to find my way back home. This morning I had the blues in my bed. Can't tell where they came from. I had that feeling in my head. As I lay there shaking, you know the blues are like the waking of the dead. Sometimes I cry my poor self to sleep. It's a feeling I can't stand. Oh, looking for my baby to help me and to keep. Save me by holding my hand as I wait for that midnight hour. I walk those streets alone, Christy, looking to find my peace of mind that will lead me home. Sometimes I wonder what spell I'm under. I got the blues in my bones. Sometimes I cry my poor self to sleep. It's a feeling I can't stand. Looking for my baby to help me and to keep. Save me by holding my hand as I wait for that midnight hour. I walk those streets alone, looking to find my peace of mind that will lead me home. Sometimes I wonder what spell I'm under. I got the blues in my bones. I got the blues in my bones. I got the blues in my bones. I got the blues.
That wasn't fair. I was gonna do this great big spiel about that, and it just kind of robbed it when it jumped in my way like that. But I'm still gonna do the spiel. Listen, folks, doesn't that make you just want to go out and just have a little fun and listen to a band just dripping like they was straight out of the South themselves, even though they're down there in that one Southern Oregon. Man, you Southern Oregon people, if you haven't gone out to see the Pinsky racing team with the one laid back harmonica Phil blowing some bad mamma jamma harmonica. Man, I'm telling you, you folks really are missing something. I know I'm missing something from North Central Kansas. This stuff make me want to fly in there, jump in there, and just roll all over the floor as if the spirit of the blues hit me. I mean, I'd be all over that floor. That's right. I'm not even kidding, folks. Really, come out wherever you are. If you don't know them, they're the nicest people on earth. Come out, listen to their music. Tell us where they can get a hold of your music right now. I mean, where can they write? I mean, just click on it and just listen.
davidandphil.info.
.info?
It is our website.
davidandphil.info.
.info. I-N-F-O.
Okay. Now, folks, go there and then show up at the shows. And, man, you're going to have a good time. I mean, you'll dance the COVID right off you.
Good for what it is, yeah.
That's exactly right, you know. Anyway, we were talking a while ago, and lightning took me out. I mean, there was lightning directly overhead, and I think it hit behind a house somewhere here. But
you had Lou Christie knocking at your door.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. So you guys played some lightning into my life.
Yeah.
That's right, lightning and a thunder. Okay, now, David Pinsky, I know you know where we were in conversation because you have the gift, brother. I mean, I thought I had a gift. You take the show, and there'd probably be 15. The first time somebody even listened to it, there'd be 15,000 people out there going, "Woo!"
My old days on the radio, man. Jefferson Public Radio down here in Southern Oregon. I had Tuesday nights. Every Tuesday night I was on, I think it was from 9 to 1 or 9 to 2. I used to close down the public radio station and do whatever the heck I wanted to do, from blues to avant-garde rock and roll to, I have an affinity for 50s doo-wop. So I did a whole half an hour of 50s doo-wop and stuff like that. So,
oh man,
I did a little bit of everything, but so all you got to do is just look into the microphone and start talking. I don't have to tell you about that, Steve.
I mean, I don't know. I've always been kind of blessed with just being able to talk to anybody about anything. So, I mean, if I can aim it, especially at the music world, man, I'm a real happy fella. I mean, it makes me happy to bring you guys out. And I mean, it's like I got to talk to an old friend not too long back, and so you guys would know of them, or you might have been with them. I don't know. But have you ever heard of the Kinsey Report, you guys?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Sure.
oh, sure.
I got to be with Kenny
Oh,
on the show, and God,
oh, that's cool.
it was just like old times, you know. I mean, it's like, because they literally have asked me up on stage, you know, to jam with those guys. I got to know the family pretty well, and it was, God, what a joy. I mean, I felt out of place. I felt like a duck out of water, but it was still, because I'm kind of shy in that kind of respect. But anyway, I had such a good time with them, you know, and you guys, you know, it's just like when you bring your music nowadays, you don't have to show up and look for the magic. The magic just is there, and you're going to grab it now, right? I mean, really, you know. I mean, it's like a lot of bands that I have on this show. I got to shop for that. You know what I mean? Shop to bring that up. What makes you? What gets you off, dude? What makes you just want to play a ripping solo? What makes you want to stay that pocket, you know, that big fat pocket that you just built on a rhythm? What makes you want to do that? And you guys don't have to do that anymore. You kind of show up. You guys have been together so long. 15 years is a long time, man. I mean, it's like, I'm very fortunate to keep my wives for that long.
We all are.
I have no comment, but I have a wonderful wife, and we've been married more than 35 years. And she's a very patient, wonderful woman.
Mine is too.
And Phil's wife is also very wonderful too. We all get along really well.
Yes.
At times we've all gone to Memphis together. We're regardless of how darn cold it was.
Oh yeah.
We still had a good time, you know.
January.
We went to Clarksdale, right?
Right.
After we competed in the IBC, and we stayed in Clarksdale at the Shack Up Inn. I don't know if you ever been there. The Shack Up Inn is just a bunch of old shacks, really, and they're as hotel rooms. And it was so windy there that if you had the front and the back door of the shack open, everything would blow out.
That's why they call it Shotgun Shack.
Oh yeah, around here we've learned not to open the car doors at the same time. You know, it's just you can fly a kite through our, you know, right through our through our vehicle. You know, I mean, the thing that I remember about Clarksdale, you know, and I was actually hired to play Morgan Freeman's place.
Ground Zero, yeah.
And it was quite an honor for me, and I was really blessed at the time, but I couldn't go because my mom died.
Oh.
Well, she wasn't dead. I mean, they said if I wanted to see her live, I better go. You know, she had pancreatic cancer, and so you know, and then I had a heart attack, and then I had, you know, COVID. I've been hit by everything, you know, and it's like, man, I haven't even thought about calling those folks back, you know, and saying, hey, man, how about a second chance at the Second Chance Music Store?
I wrote my name on the stage of that place at Ground Zero. Many years ago in 07 and 08, I was playing in Helena, Arkansas. I played at the Biscuit, but it was called the Arkansas Blues and Heritage Festival, and brought the band from Oregon to Arkansas. And I actually played. There's this great film narrated by John Hammond Jr. about looking for Robert Johnson, right? And we actually played on the same street corners that Robert Johnson was playing, and they showed that place, and the stage that we played was right on that same block. You know, it was pretty cool. So talk about hot and muggy, man. It was terrible.
No,
I'm a New Yorker, man.
No. That is when you should really relish what you're doing, man. Because really, I mean, you think about those Mississippi guys, and we're talking about, you know, everybody that from what we've got, BB King. You know, basically came from the same era. Man, he was playing them juke joints, you know, and them that place is it gets so hot. It's so sticky. Even the flies don't even want to land on you. You get so rank back in there. Seriously. But for you guys, I mean, it's like, okay, I can really see you guys coming back from there. Did it shape your music any? Did it really start to? Did it? I mean, or did you already have that already inside you before your first appearance in Memphis?
No, it affects you. You can't leave there unaffected, and not just the music. Your whole approach to any creative endeavor. It's you gotta, as they say, see the elephant. You go there, you see the elephant.
Oh man,
ribs.
It did as much shape the music, but it sure shaped the attitude. Changed my world. I mean, there is on our website an interview that we did after our first time playing the Blues Challenge, and I guess the guy from ABC News liked what we did because he shoved the microphone in our face.
Oh, shit.
And he asked me, how do you feel about playing in the International Blues Challenge on Beale Street? And I'm wide-eyed as could be. I'm over the moon.
Oh, man.
And so that's the genesis of our first album title, which is Over the Moon.
Oh, man. I just had a really good friend of mine play B.B. King's place there, the establishment there. It's kind of the south, just as you're entering into the main warehouse district of Beale Street. They're mainly restaurants. Yeah. They're mainly restaurants now. The old hardware store is still there. And,
right.
Which is really, a person has to take that in because it has all those trinkets from the old days. And they sell in there for nothing. And kids always loved it when I came home with that stuff. I mean, I'd always drag it home and stuff like. But the thing about Beale Street, like I said, a friend of mine was playing BB's. I once saw an act there that blew my mind, and I never got the name of the act. Every time I turn around, and they were doing a version of like Hendrix did "Hey Joe." This guy did this, but he did it so, God, it was so raunchy, it was so sexual, I mean, it was just the way he played it, and it's like, and it's a song about shooting his old lady, I mean, it's like, and this guy's playing it like, man, I mean, and things happen when you go out to Memphis, I think things happen here the same way, I mean, we get the same Gulf influence. Right now I'm dripping wet, in sweat, and we even have the air conditioner on, so that's how the humidity can really get to you, and everything. So since I talked to you guys last, which was 3-4 months ago, how's the progression of everything going? Are you picking up all the gigs? Are you getting all the gigs you want to do? I mean,
getting more than we want. I shouldn't say that because then, we're working a lot. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool after COVID. I mean, there's a lot of folks that still, I know in Kansas City there, I think you can go to Knuckleheads and probably catch gigs there, but for the most part, all the main places aren't really they're not motivated to have bands because they don't want to pay that extra $600-700 for a band and everything. So it's kind of a bad situation. That's why I wonder about you guys. See, I mean, 3 months ago, and you've come down the road. How many gigs you guys think you're playing a month?
What was that again, Steve?
How many gigs do you guys think you're playing a month? How many venues do you think you're hitting a month?
A ton this month. What, 8, 9, 10?
Yeah, we're averaging more than one a week.
Oh wow! Right now, huh?
Yeah. I mean, just in general. I mean, we're kind of booked through the end of the year. I think there's a lull in in November, but
Yeah.
because it's much easier and much more affordable for smaller venues to hire duets.
Yeah.
The wineries like us, and the people in the wineries like us, and so you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. So pretty much one a week. We get kind of weird gigs. We're playing for retirement villages, and we're playing for I mean, we played one, what was it, a couple of weeks ago. And what's funny about playing those places are you're never really sure if you're winning over the audience. And after we finished, everybody in the whole audience, pretty much everyone, complimented us on our show. They were very happy we were there for them. So who the heck knows? You just do what you do. And we did nothing different. We just played more quiet. You have to play to your venue. And we didn't try to bowl anybody over with our music, but we're very sensitive to the audience. I think that's one thing that we have always done. And Phil's got really good ears. So he can pretty much set the tone for it, which is really important because I just plug in and play, and I don't listen nearly as well as he does. And so I put my trust in what Phil is hearing. And if he says it's too loud, I turn it down. Yes, that's right, my friend. I do listen to you. Maybe that's why it works so well. We do listen to each other. That's all.
We do listen to each other. It's true.
That's a big deal. I mean, that's really a huge deal. That's one thing I always notice when you go to a jam session. There's nothing worse than nobody listening to each other, overplaying each other. I mean, it's like, okay, everybody take your turn, get in line. Let's have some fun here, man. Let's put some smiles on our faces. Let's put some smile on the people that's out there listening. Let's have a good time and let's have some fun. Why not? What's it gonna cost? It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost a darn thing to go with a good, positive, great thoughts about playing music with people. And I mean, and this is the truth. The dynamics of where I live is, I'm in a 30, our Jewel County is 36 square miles, right? That's how big it is. There's 2,900 people here. How many people you think play guitar?
2,700.
No, not even. I mean, it's like, okay, if I'm the only one that could do the how many lead guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb? I mean, there's nobody to go. There's no one standing there going, I can do that.
I can do that faster. Yeah.
That's right. And check it out. For me to play country, I got to go into the next county, and an hour and 10 minutes away.
Wow.
And if I want to play like Guy Clark folk music and Townes Van Zandt and people like that, I got to go another hour and 10 minutes the opposite direction to a little place called Clyde. So, and they're both out of the 36 by 36 that we live in, and we also live in the middle of one square mile. I mean, when you stop and think about it, when you think about the dynamics of that, when you get to play music with somebody, you're pretty fortunate. So, why I say that is because the listening skills become really important, that, and not only that is that you discuss that with whoever you're going to jam with, and usually the guy you're jamming with, he's been playing as long as you have, and is probably even much better than somebody that was out performing, because, when you do performance, like with a band, it's like you got this set list. The only thing that changes in the set list is what number you're going to play Lorianne, or what number you're going to play Watching My Baby, where you're going to put it, and And that's kind of what would go on in that whole thing. I know I've taken a lot of time talking here. I want to play another song of yours that you guys did, Roselia. Can I do that one? Did you guys?
Rosalia, yeah.
Who
Yeah.
which one of you guys wrote this song?
I wrote it. That's my grandmother's name.
Ah.
Rosalia. Yeah.
So that's really cool. So what was Grandma like to you?
Grandma was a short, little, mean Spanish-speaking lady from the Philippines.
Wow.
That was my grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah, she made up in meanness what she lacked in height. So.
Did you take after the same thing? I mean, you're getting old and gray now, but when you was younger, I bet you was a little bit on the feisty side then, right?
Our family was not a safe place to grow up.
I always just blamed it on the neighborhood, you know. I mean,
Yeah, we were the problem in the neighborhood. There went the neighborhood.
There was a lot of Newtons when you were growing up.
David, I got a story you might be interested in. You know where Pomona, California is by any chance? Okay, you remember they have the NHRA drag
Right.
right there, that big winter nationals. I mean, it's like this is a big thing. Well, they actually have a tower out in the middle of that. It's an old like an old German tower that watches over the old encampments, and it'll keep everybody in, and they have a razor wire fence that goes over the top of a 6-foot chain link. So what we used to do as kids, and this started when we was like in the 4th grade, we'd watch that light go around and said, and so I once bought a ticket in there and went checking out where all the potholes were, because I thought, man, you can hit those potholes and probably hide down in them. They're so big and out there on that thing. So what would happen is if we cut a hole in the fence and then 10 of us, it's like that light would go around. And the minute it hit you, you had to start running, and you had to get in there, like every 50 yards, and there was like 150 yards before you got in to meet Big Daddy Garlitz, and
Yeah, Big Daddy, you bet.
yeah, Big Daddy. And I've shook his hand, man, and I was in there for free because it's like a highway right into the pits. You come back with sticker heaven, man. You come back with every sticker in the world.
That's cool.
That's kind of a cool story. But we're back to Rosalia. This story is about Phil Newton's grandmother. And
it kind of goes back and forth in time. I wrote it up in out of Albany there at the Phoenix Inn. I was playing a gig up there, and I couldn't sleep, and some guy was banging on all the doors and yelling, and so I started thinking, I'll write a song, and so part of it is about that real life experience of not being able to sleep after a gig at a hotel room in Oregon, but then part of it goes back in time to when my grandfather met my grandmother. He was this Southern guy, and he wanted to marry her, and she wouldn't marry him, and she wanted to be a nun. He had to learn Spanish just so he could talk to her, and which he did, and so the events that are mentioned in there, a lot of them are actually true. Like there's a line that says, "When a soul don't meet a body coming through the rye no more." Well, my grandfather liked to drink, and he would come home singing, "When a body meets a body coming through the rye," and that's how everybody knew he was really good and drunk. So just stuff like that. It doesn't have any real order to it, but it's just little details that most of them actually happen.
well, that's good writing, I think. When you can make something, you can take part of a story and then turn it into where you want it to be. I mean, I kind of done that quite a bit. Like I wrote a song called Lori Ann, which is it's a song on a dobro, and it's about how my wife and I really ended up meeting, but the beginning of it says that I was doing time on the county farm, where the head of the beast met me harm, kind of thing. And that came from, going to Pelican Bay all those years and playing music. I played in Pelican Bay quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I actually got to meet quite a few of those guys. But also the song came from that kind of a vibe, because Pelican Bay is the real deal, man. I mean, as real as it gets anywhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, so anyway, let's play this song, man. I just keep feeling like I need to talk to you guys.
An off-ramp off of I-5, a roundabout motel. He was pounding on the walls and drinking gin. The doors all looked the same. He was calling out her name, howling down the halls at 3 a.m. He cried, "Hey, Rosalia, can I come in and see you? I ain't no Motel Romeo. It's lonesome out tonight. Let me in, it'll be alright. Give me one more little kiss and then I'll go." I swear a train was rolling not too very far away. The engineer was blowing miles on that horn. The room was kinda dumpy. The bed was hard and lumpy. The paper on the walls was blue and torn. Oh, Rosalia, you don't live here anymore. The birds on your shawl have flown away. The soul don't meet a body coming through the ride no more. The room holds all your secrets to the light of day. He cried, "Hey, Rosalia, can I come up and see ya? You know I ain't no Motel Romeo. It's lonesome out tonight. Let me in, it'll be alright. Give me one more little kiss and then I'll go." She shines like an angel on the cover of a magazine. Her broken dreams lie tangled in the sheets. Light on the ceiling bears witness to the scene. A fractured neon tango on the streets. By the greasy all-night diner, I can hear his shadow fall as he stumbles on without it in the dawn. Another lonely night, another absent lover's fight. I can hear him calling as he wanders on. Let me in, it'll be alright. Give me one more little kiss and then I'll go. He cried, hey, Rosalia, can I come in and see you? I ain't no Motel Romeo. It's lonesome out tonight. Let me in, it'll be alright. Give me one more little kiss and then I'll go. Just one more little kiss and then I'll go.
Wow, Rosalia. Cha-cha-cha. I got the ride on that one, you guys. Man, I tell you what, can I have you back in about 3 more months? Can I get both of you on? Would that be, that'd be really cool. I want to keep a steady diet of, there's people I've decided that I'm going to keep a steady diet of in front of my fans. And I'm sorry, but I gotta pimp you guys, you know? I mean, I want you guys.
We appreciate it, you know?
We do. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's always great to talk to you.
And we appreciate you, Steve. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. You guys take the time, and I know it's a lot of work to be out there. And sometimes you don't want to be there, and I know that, man. I've had a lot of gigs in my life where I didn't want to be there, and I was there, and things are going on at home, and things are going on here and there, and you know, and the people aren't responding, and you're just like, you know, you know those dog days, you know. That's what happens when you do 200 gigs a year. When you start on that kind of a career path, it can really, really tax you. And I'm not kidding. After 12 years of it, I basically was ready to just lay down and not do nothing. I didn't want to talk to nobody. Got out here on a farm, and bam, that's what happened. So, anyway, so if I can have you guys back, and you guys heard this live, that's right, burntpossumrecords.com, you guys, you get to witness they're coming back in 3 months. I'm going to put them up. It's been, believe it or not, it's almost 3 months to the day that I had Phil on for the first time. And David's just a little while back there, but everybody, go listen to the first one I had with Phil. There's a lot of joy in it. There's a lot of laughter in it because he's such a good brother. And then he introduced me to David Pinsky, his good friend, which David and I should have met a long time ago, and I don't know why. When he was in the Rhythm Kings, I watched the Rhythm Kings play. I just did. I just never. I mean. There's a good friend of mine, Paul Benjamin, down here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that he wrote a song called Sneaker. And back in those days, I was kind of a sneaker. I snuck in these places and watched people play and didn't really bother to go see him. We have lost Phil. So anyway, I'm going to have to close this night out. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to the night here?
Man, all I can say is, and I've said it before when we're talking, it's to have a musical partner like Phil has made my musical career more rewarding than I could ever have thought it would be. Because when you have those days that you really don't want to be there or whatever, where you're feeling, pretty lousy, at least you're there with your best buddy, and you take a break, and it's true. We can talk to each other. So even if it's a crappy night and wherever we are, we have each other we have a shared experience, and we're friends. So it's like, it's kind of like, you know what it's like playing in a band, right? Playing in a band is like being on a basketball team. It doesn't. When you play well, you're winning a game, right? This is even better. This is like having a sports partner, like a doubles partner in tennis or whatever. We get along, and regardless of what the outside world thinks of how we're doing, we got each other. And even if we stink, we can laugh about it, which is fine. And we have this great shared experience. That's what it's all about. Friendship and music going hand in hand in what we do, and it keeps us, doing it. I mean, if we didn't like each other or the music stunk, we probably would have quit this a long time ago. But I think we've mentioned in the past, the first time we ever played together, we looked at each other and said, wow,
yeah, that worked.
I'm going to do this more often, because it was pretty magical then, and it's still magical now.
Oh man,
there you go. I said enough, didn't
I? No, brother. You said it just right. That was beautiful. I mean, really, it's a symbiotic thing that I've never. Well, I have enjoyed it, and just the way circumstances ended up. The person that I played music with, and we could write together. We could sit down for hours and go over stuff, and it was fun. I haven't had that since, and it's been over 25, 26 years that's been for me. So, I mean, and of course I had a band in Kansas City, but I didn't put that band together. I mean, I was just a guy going to jam sessions. These guys says, man, you ought to take this show on the road. That's what I was told. And I didn't believe them. I blew it off for about 6 months. And then this guy called me up and he goes, he's a bass player. He goes, I got a band I want to put behind you. Would you be interested? Would you start gigging if I did? Sure. Why not? And I was working for KSPL, walking in all the ghettos of Kansas City. I mean, I've been in every ghetto that you could think of in Kansas City. They put me there because I grew up in one. So it's kind of cool, but I got guns pulled on me 5 times.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah, no, for real. And it's kind of scary when a low riding Toyota comes pulling up with all the black tent, and then the windows come down, and there's a shotgun pointed at you, and the guy in the front seat's doing the talk. What are you doing here? I said, this was, it was simple. I'm keeping your lights on. I'm keeping you warm during the winter time. I'm making sure that your lines don't get over tangled up with trees. That's what I'm doing. And, you want me here. And they go, right on, man. We'll get along for that. They go by there and wave. Sometimes they roll down the window and wave. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being kind in the world, I mean, there's nothing wrong with telling the truth like it is, and I would have done that in my own ghetto. And a lot of my old friends and it wasn't like a ghetto. We're talking about Compton type ghetto, I mean, basically, that's what it was like, Compton, and so I have a lot of joy in meeting my brothers whenever I get to see them, and of course that's where I started learning to play the blues, was way back then. So, and I know you guys, you're always going to be welcome on my show. You're my brother, and if I could get out there, David, I'd take your offer up, and without even thinking about it, I'd pull out my dobro.
There we go. I can't wait, man.
That would be a joy.
I'd pull out my dobro and just play along with you guys,
that'd be fantastic.
And have a good time, and that's. Yeah. Phil, is there anything that you would like to say in part? Because David, he poured out his heart about you while you were off. There. You went off for a little bit. I'm serious.
I thought my computer was plugged in, but apparently I lost power.
I mean, he explained what it's like to be in love with music, and he explained what it's like to have such a partner that is in love with the same music he is. That's what he basically explained. I thought it was, man, gives me chills, gives me goosebumps to think that people like that are still in the real world, I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a rare thing. I mean, we sure ain't in it for the money, It's wouldn't do it for free, but well, actually, we do. If the cause is right, we play a lot of free gigs. It's the you can't, well, you can't replicate what people playing music together does for you. It's especially with men in our modern world. I was thinking about this the other day. We have broken connections all around. The society is designed to break our connections, and music is a way to defy that and to reconnect with our fellow humans. It's rare. I mean, people used to do stuff together all the time, and they hardly ever do now. We're the lucky ones that get to hang out with our friends and make well, you and I talked, Steve, about Ben, who I did not know you took lessons with him for a long time.
Yeah.
And his whole thing to me, we were sitting there sipping warm vodka out in front of the Elks Lodge in Grants Pass. He had it in the trunk of his rusty Catalina, and we're sipping this warm vodka, and he goes, "My job is to make people feel better," and I've never forgotten that. And in the process, I feel better myself. And you do that with your best friends, and it really truly doesn't get any better than that. Yeah.
No, yeah, he said that many times to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't.
It shows.
You know, because I would like, I mean, music to me, I think when I stopped playing is because I didn't feel like I was touching people anymore,
Interesting.
And so I felt like I need to take a step back and rediscover who Steve Howell is with the music, because I really believe this, Phil, that they've taped outer space. What the sounds that are out there. They know that there's always sonic wave lengths going on the whole time, and I truly believe that everything that was created and is created has been a part of that frequency called music throughout the ages. I mean, and what do we have for reminders? We have the waterfall, we have a running faucet, we have anything to do with water. You could go listen to waves break, and they will have a symbiotic relation to the last wave that broke, and it's like they have this manner of communication that is just like our lungs that fill up with air automatically. We don't ask it to do it; it just does it, kind of thing. And so that's kind of where I'm at in my own head when it comes to music. And Ben, let's face it, man, there's no way I could ever play like that guy. But the thing was that the concept that he put in me is that you're doing it to make people happy, and not only that, always use your own voice. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself in your instrument. So with our long jam sessions, we'd jam for an hour, 2 hours. I mean, until he got tired, basically, and I'd just sit there and, man, I mean, you're sitting with one of the greatest, I think, one of my time anyway, in my history. The only one I could say that I think played equal to him was probably Donald Kinsey, of course. Donald Kinsey's a monster guitar player. He's not just a little guitar player. The guy he's Hendrix rebirth. I mean, he's like Hendrix. He's just as creative as Hendrix when you watch him play. But I say that about Ben because Ben really, he was one of those guys. Find your own voice and stay true to your own voice. And always realize that you're doing this for the listener. You're not doing this to be some big anything, And of course,
Amen.
Of course, that bigness. There's times it got in my head. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's times when, you're up on stage with some high-powered band, and you're like, and you're somehow the heavens reached down and hit you as lightning, and everything just all of a sudden flowed together, and bam, you're playing the blues like nobody you ever met. I mean, that's happened to me. I mean, it really happened. And I look back at that, some of these recordings that I have, I go, that ain't possible. That can't be me. But it was how I was in that moment, in that certain night and time. So, and with a certain band, and I hired a bass player. I did Lovewell Lake, I think 3 years ago, and hired this fella that was well known over this way, about 50 miles. And I mean, I'm pointing like, yeah, he's to the east, okay, off of Highway 24, man, bumps into Concordia. Yeah, and so anyway, that's where he came from. The only reason I couldn't hang with the dude is because he was running for sheriff. And I'm an outlaw, you know, what can I say? Lord, I like to drink and drive.
You know, you talk about all this stuff. I can tell you, you know, I've been playing instruments since I think I was 2 or 3 years old. Right. I had the great blessing of taking trumpet lessons at the weekend program for kids at Juilliard School of Music. And my trumpet teacher was the first chair trombonist for the New York Philharmonic. So maybe at that time of my life, when in 1957, 1958, this guy was the greatest classical trombonist in the world. I mean, and for me, music itself, just any kind of music and playing music, I don't think I can live without playing. I mean, it's just,
I know,
somebody,
right?
Somebody said to when I said to somebody, music is my second language. I mean, I speak English and music. I don't speak any other tongues, but it just playing music is something that I don't know how not to do. And I don't know.
Wow.
I don't really know how to stop. And I think I can't stop. So I don't. And, I mean, I'm 71 years old. So you're talking about 68 years later, I'm still playing music.
Yeah, you crack me up, man, because it's really true. Because you caught me on this one. I mean, you really got me on this one. I'll tell you how. Because I tried to stop. I'll tell you what happened to me. Now, David, you would agree with what would happen. I'm done playing Kansas City, and I've been doing these 200 gigs, and it's about 6 months later, and I met these folks, and they invited me to go to this great big party that was happening out of Republic County, and Lori and I, we said, oh yeah, let's go there, man. This could be fun. So I go there. The first thing that happens, this woman named Susie came up there, and she heard me play, and she said, she comes up there and says, hey, would you mind taking the stage? And I looked at her and says, lady, I'm retired. I really, these people, but the music that was going on was so hideous. I mean, they couldn't. It was like a Neil Young wannabe, but he couldn't make it to even get the chords right for a Neil Young song. It was horrible. So anyway, this guy has a Telecaster and a Marshall up there, and these other two yahoos up there, one guy on the bass and then on the drums. And anyway, and they kept talking to me. They wouldn't leave me alone. And I'd move to somewhere else to go eat some cake, and they'd come over. Come on, Steve. Come on, just play us one. And I thought, all right, I'll go play one. So I go up there. I march up, get up on the stage, right? And I say to this guy, I said, do you know anything about Howlin' Wolf? And I asked the drummer, you know anything about Howlin' Wolf? Can you do a rhomba? Yeah, I can do a rhomba. And we start into it, My baby caught the train, and anyway, I took this Telecaster, and this guy had it like the treble like on monster high, had all the mids turned way off of the thing, and the bass was like a third turned up, and I was like, oh man, this is okay. I cranked the bass up. I turned the mid as far as that thing could go, man. If it would have gone up to 11 or 12, I'd have begged it to, coming out of my Marshall. So anyway, I turned down the treble, and so I did that BB King thing, and then I did the tone knob on my on the telly that he had, and the telly was totally out of tune when I got a hold of it, so I had to tune it up, and so anyway, the rhomba starts, and I get the bass player going, and I'm setting them up and I'm counting and I'm getting it right. Okay, got it right. And then I started to a solo, and the crowd went freaking crazy. I mean, they had lost their minds. They got up, started dancing and jumping and yelling, and and I'm up there blowing some blues, and then I got into the vocal part of it, and they went crazy again. And it was like, God, I must have had 3 standing ovations just for one song, So they said, "Get me play another encore, another," and I'm like, oh, I'm going, okay. These guys aren't real blues guys at the time, and so, so it was fun anyway. I'm just telling you that story because that's what happens. That's what happens when you say, "I'm tired, I'm done, I'm all in." Then all of a sudden you remember who you've become. It's just who you've become, and that's really because it becomes such a, like you said, David, it's such a part of your life from then on. You can't take away an ovation. You can't. Those people were so appreciative. In fact, I bumped into the guy that catered that thing about 5 months ago, and he says, "Do you remember that night at Republic at so and so's birthday party?" I says, "That was fun, wasn't it?" He goes, "Man, you blew us away, man. It was just overwhelming. And it was just something you and I would just pull out and just do, I mean, it wasn't nothing. I didn't feel like it was anything special, I mean, it was just me playing and singing that, But then, David, that's what it is, right? I mean, that's explaining the experiential part of being a musician. And I'm like you. My wife sometimes would beg me to quit. And I just can't do it, man. I mean,
My wife is smarter than that. My wife has never asked me to quit. In fact, as the story goes, in 1988, when the original Rhythm Kings was put together, I came back from this kind of get-together, rehearsal-like thing, and I said, this was a lot of fun. And they said, do you want to start a band? And I said, well, I just had a little baby and all that kind of stuff. And
I know that
Julia,
story.
and she says, you have to do this. And she has supported me,
Ever since,
all the time. Yes.
Well, I'm not saying my wife doesn't support me. But
she encourages me too, and a lot of times she's there, especially for the bigger gigs. I mean, our wives come with us when it actually, is like on Saturday at the blues festival. They were both there, and it's always great to have them there. It's
I'm like boogie chilling, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like boogie chilling. It's in him. It's got to come out, is what his dad said to his mama, right? It's in him. It got to come out.
Got to come out.
Right? I mean, and that's just the way it is, brother. When you're gonna, I'm talking to 2 guys that are going way past of what I'm doing right now, but I'm telling you, I mean, I can't get over picking up my guitar, sitting on my couch even, not have on a headphone plugged into a tiny little amplifier that I have. And there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I mean, and I feel like I've grown, I mean, especially since the days of Pimpin' A, man. I mean, his words have never ever left me. His thoughts, whenever I pick up a guitar, never leave me. It's like it's automatically channeled. And I mean, like I
Wonderful.
said, he forgot more about the guitar than I still know. And I build them.
That's right.
And I'll pass on just a small story. I might have told Phil. So we were playing the same bill with Ben Rice on Saturday. So
Right.
Ben, all of us have known each other a long time, right?
Right.
And I I gave him a hug and I said, it's really great to see how you're doing and have what success you've had. And he said something to me like, yeah, but I had to learn it from you guys, and it was so nice to hear somebody.
That's sweet.
Yeah, saying that. And Ben Rice is the future, one of the futures of the blues
really is, yeah.
in this world.
Absolutely.
And to hear that's really a wonderful compliment.
Oh, that really is. That truly is. And I mean, if you listen to Brandon Hudspeth play sometime, just listen to him pour out over some. I mean, he really is a King fanatic, Freddie King. He really, and he knows how to say it. He knows how to build that tension, until it's that perfect time of release. And it's like, oh, we got to start all over again. That was good, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna have to say good night with you guys, man.
Yeah, me too.
It's way too, it's really, thank you guys. Thank you,
Steve.
We could talk all night long, so just put us back on in a month or two. We'll be happy to come back on and keep bending your ears, Steve.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I really do want to keep certain folks up in the forefront, and you're one of them, and I'd like to have Kevin's up there, and then I have a couple from the East Coast that I want to. Well,
really thank you for having us. Yeah, really.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Oh, you guys are blessing. And anyway, you folks out there, this is BurntPossumRecords.com, and we've been at Burnt Possum Studios. We've been talking on the airways with one David Pinsky and one Phil Newton. And these guys, as far as I'm concerned, are what the blues is all about today. I think they've got their mark. And if you're not going out to see them and you live in Southern Oregon, shame on you. Really. I mean, for real. Anyway, I'm going to kick it off and say goodnight with this right here. Well, folks, I'm Howlin Steve Howell. I've been your host tonight here on BurntPossumRecords.com. And what a night I've had. I get to hang out with my friends and long time, they're always going to be my friends. And this is the way it is when you do the blues. Just remember when you're out there, we're a country that is next to war. We're a country that are going to need each other. We are human beings that we just need to fall in love with who we are in America again. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because when I look at the news, it's kind of frightening because there's some subtle lies being told to us, and there's also very subtle lies being told to us, and there's a lot of unkindness going on, and we need people to be kind. Quit shooting each other. What is that all about? I mean, come on, be kind. That's what that's what I want this show to be all about, is being kind to one another. Musicians have a responsibility to make sure that kindness and the language that you use goes out there properly with people. And folks, just remember, Howlin Steve loves you. Goodbye.
Good night, Steve.